a lot of the factors and subjects we touch on are some of the reasons Absa is excited about agriculture and why agriculture across the continent is one of our strategic growth themes. I suppose it's not a supposition, it's without doubt, the demand for food products across the world is increasing. We're talking about population growth. I don't know where the world population is going to be in 2040, 2050, but I've seen some figures that sub-Saharan Africa could double the population over the next 30 to 40 years, which will create a demand for food. So that definitely would be one of the reasons why agriculture is a strategically important growth area for us. But as a sector, and as a bank that's involved in the agricultural sector, I always have the impression that agriculture is very capital intensive, which unlocks funding opportunities for us. In South Africa, do you see, Hayes, that is going to be a continuing trend where agricultural businesses have to invest in capital and in technology to remain competitive?
Definitely, especially in technology. We see a trend that, as I mentioned before, bigger companies and bigger producers are just becoming bigger and bigger. Our responsibility is to grow with them, again to create a sustainable business. But I think the opportunities will clearly widen up. We need to concentrate on getting more tons per hectare, getting more tons per hectare on citrus, getting more kilograms per kilogram of feed from a conversion cycle when it comes to the meat industry, and all of that is sort of driven by technology and improvement within the technology atmosphere. We see that all our main clients are investing heavily into technology, into be sort of world leading when it comes to production capacity, and that's the only way that we're gonna feed the African continent and possibly the.
I get the impression we lag a bit in Africa and the technology and the capex and the investment side. Is that a real area for us to get involved in and expand our book?
I think you can't not, just back to Haas's point, you can't not be involved in continuous improvements, accessing technology that is available, and that's not just technology with regards to your current machinery and implements. It's with specifically your processes, how you do things. Haas mentioned increasing your yields. People wonder when is we going to reach that maximum? You can't increase any more. I don't believe it. So it will be a continuous improvement going forwards, maybe on a reducing percentage-wise scale. It's not linear improvements. So yeah, in the South African context, we have readily access to a lot of improvements, and we see now the developments of drone technology, where farmers can spray their crops with drones. It's still in its infancy, still a lot of development, but we can see how the trends and how things are moving. You mentioned in the Africa space, the market isn't always as large as the South African market, with in excess of 30,000 farmers. If you go to any specific African country, a lot of potential, and that's where that land is that you mentioned, is where will the next a couple of million hectares come from. It's primarily Africa. Yes, South America has quite a bit. That's where all the land is available. South America, but to a large extent Africa, but you need technology with regards to bringing your infrastructure we mentioned previously, water and power, and the expertise to utilize those to produce. And to produce what? There are lots of different commodities that different areas can be focused on, but the key element is then linking up your logistics to get that to the markets. It doesn't help that you are so far away from your markets that your diesel cost to get that to a harbour is killing your profitability. Farmers are not looking at opportunities without considering the profitability of those opportunities. Yes. As I said, they're businessmen these days. It's not about a lifestyle, it's about an investment that will give you a good return. So yeah, each country has its own specific challenge. So you can't, say, generalize and isolate saying what are the technological constraints for a specific country.